Welcome to our special edition of Market Masters. The Sensex and the Nifty have been relentlessly touching new highs ever since the 10th of November, when the Nifty crossed the previous high of 12,405. Since that day, it has touched new highs with almost unstoppable regularity, as has the Sensex after crossing the 44,000 mark. So today, we thought we should bring you a special edition of Market Masters. We are going to get you snippets of our conversation with three big experts: Sameer Arora, founder and fund manager, Helios Capital; Shankar Sharma, vice chairman and joint managing director, First Global; and Nilesh Shah, the managing director and CEO of Envision Capital. Let's start our conversation first with Sameer Arora. I don't think this market rally will sustain, was the word he said. So maybe we should push caution on the table, since it comes from someone who has seen several cycles of markets. Sameer Arora said that he believes the short-term rally looks wild, but he's quite confident in the long term the trend remains positive for equity investors. We began by asking him if 2021 was the start of a new bull run like in 2003.
See, the thing this time is very confusing, because when you look at it for the last 2, 3 months, 4 months, it looks like you're in the throes of a major bull run. And it looks very wild till you see the full year numbers. So that those days we were up to 80%. In 2007, it was up some 104%. And now it is like 19, 20% total for the year. So then it doesn't look like a bull run. So that is why this is confusing, because the last few months looks indiscriminate. It doesn't matter what sector, what stock, and therefore you are feeling that, oh my God, is this blowing up and it's going to be like 99 end. Till you see last 2, 3 years numbers have been very sedate. And therefore, from that angle, I think this can go on for a long time. But really, on the other hand, in the very short term, it looks totally wild to me. And, I don't think that this can sustain, because it can't be the case that after such a big event, every company that comes on your channel comes and says that we are either okay today or we'll be okay in 6 months. I don't believe that is possible, because it is not consistent to have company A doing well and company B, which is sort of in a different competitive space for the same thing, also saying I'll be okay in 6 months. So, for example, if TCS comes and says that 75% will be work from home, and they have defined it in black and white many times, and HCL Tech, I recently asked them, they said 50%. And then you have a commercial property guy saying everything is okay. If somebody comes here and says that I'm launching an OTT and there are 6 OTTs, and the other side, the theater guy says I'm okay, it just cannot be. But that is what I feel is the thing. Airlines, Bill Gates says that 50% of traffic, business traffic, will go away. And actually, Wall Street Journal day before yesterday did a survey and said 30-35%, which I totally agree that some percentage will go away. But the hotel stocks are saying nothing will go away, because there'll be a first round of a burst, or an airline. So all these things at a big picture looks a little wild till you go a little wider in your thing and then say, big deal, 1 year, nothing much has happened, and 2 years, absolutely nothing has happened. So it's okay. It is a start, but whether it's like 2003 to 7, that is not really, that is too much to believe, because that was a dream run. And those, if they come, we take it. But you don't have to plan for it. Anything half of that, also you will be as bullish as you could be.
No, Sameer, I was actually going to ask you about whether this feels like the 2003 moment, and you kind of answered it. But, there is a lot of liquidity, and it now looks like there is a reflation trade playing even in commodities. And that was how even 2003 looked. We started seeing commodities getting a little pricier. Would you normally buy do you think commodities is a good place to be in now, or commodity stocks like steel?
I will not buy commodity stocks, even if they do well. I can stop a commodity run if you want, because I have in my life seen, and this is from 95 onwards, that when I get really upset that I don't have a commodity stock with me, and I would buy some Tata Steel, from next day it would stop going up and would start falling. So that stage has not come when I feel like stopping that bull run. All I have to do is buy 2%, and that bull run will stop because whatever reason, I only get agitated when I can't handle it anymore, and then I say, go to hell, just buy 2% and let's see what happens, and then it stops. So I haven't reached that stage. But I'm saying a different thing, that let us say we think that next year the market will be up 15%. Instead of thinking that the market will be up 50% or 40%, what will be the difference in my behavior? I would be as bullish, as high a net as possible if I thought that 15% is pakka. So just think like that. There is no need to dream today, is it like 4 to 7 or not? Because half of that, you should be as bullish as you could be. So that's not the question. I think I am only fidgety a little bit in terms of the fact that these days the disruption is so high and the attack on the old business models is so high that how can it be that every guy says I am okay? Because all cannot be okay, which of course we will learn later which ones are okay or not. But a little bit of, because you see, we run, our main business is long short fund.
Yep.
So I can see that my shorts, which I think should be going down, are going up as much as the long, or maybe more.
Samir, now tell us, now we don't know whether this is that 2003-04 moment or not, and take your point, let's not even waste time thinking about it. Let's plan for the next, several months and years, right? So if it was pharma for 2020, what is going to be the big theme for 21? Sonia was naming some of these stocks, the forgotten boys, the infra names and cement, etc. Is that a theme, that will really stand out? Tell us about your big ideas for the new year.
So the thing is, we have beaten the market this year by some 8-9%, and we didn't even know that pharma was a theme. The point is, you will never know these things. That is not the way it will work consistently, because actually I was very negative on pharma till April, May. And even after that, I only covered myself by buying 10% in pharma without really having a very strong view. The point is, these things, who would have known? Let's imagine in December 2019, how would you have known that Dixon Electronics will be up 200% or that India Mart will be up some 150%? That is not the way. It's too difficult to think that, okay, in those 99 times we could figure out. And that also over time, because it was there, that tech is really booming and there is a massive, massive difference. Because here it is not that big a thing. It is more a slight shift in sentiment, a slight preference for one sector over another, and boom, though that group goes up a lot. You have to look at 2 or 3 things. One is there should be a little bit of secular thing at the back of it, and it should not be event to event based. And secondly, I don't like the idea that your profits are growing at, say, 10% per annum or 12% per annum, but for a long period of 5 years and 7 years, your PEs or your stock price is going at 20% per annum or 30%. That means your entire or 50-60% of your returns have come from valuation change, particularly if you didn't start with a very bad valuation at whatever period you start with. And the rest is more a bit of bigger and buy 30 names, and you will not know whose turn it is. And we don't even try to know. But we think that our themes, which are mostly standard themes, which is private sector financials, a consumer, nowadays a little bit of people going or helping people go online, and then this tech, pharma, specialty, chemical, with tech is a bit more core. But now you can say, okay, pharma is also there, 12% because of it going up or whatever. But you really cannot bet like that. It's too difficult to think that you will know ahead of time.
Well, that's a very candid Samir Arora. Better to stick to the known themes, and he's sticking with core tech, pharma and chemicals, and, trying to play and see how the earnings are panning out. He's a little uncomfortable with the valuations. It's very clear. So having put that caution on the table, let's get you more voices. We spoke with Envision Capital CEO Nilesh Shah, a long-time watcher of the IT skies and consumers. He believes that the current global rally is largely on account of liquidity. But he thinks the Indian market is in a strong uptrend. He's betting on a bit of the fundamental economy also moving up. We began by asking him whether the unmitigated, unrelenting bull run is worrying him, like the way it was worrying Samir Arora. Here's what he had to say. He's a little more confident that Indian fundamentals are backing the valuations at this point in time.
Lata, first, a very happy birthday to CNBC TV 18 and the entire team at CNBC TV 18. And may you guys keep delivering the excellent work and the investor awareness that you guys have been doing for now more than 20 years. So hearty congratulations on that. Coming to the market, well, yeah, I mean, of course, the up move has been very swift, fueled by liquidity and a positive sentiment. And the fact that the COVID and the lockdown was a one-off event, and it's back to normal, back to business for most companies and for most businesses world over, including India. And on top of that, we have relatively benign raw material prices, benign interest rates, benign tax rates. And then, of course, inflation is inching up, but that's honestly music to the ears of corporate India. And so on the whole, yes, of course, liquidity has been driving markets up. There's been a gush of liquidity, but I think it should be fine. There may be some moderation around the corner, but otherwise, I think that we are in a very, very strong uptrend.
But the most common question that we get asked these days from retail investors is whether they should book profits and raise their cash levels, given the kind of run-up that this market has seen. What would your advice be to them?
Well, it depends on what kind of a market participant you are. I mean, if you are a 3 to 5 year investor, of course, the last 3 to 5 years have not been that great, that wonderful. But I clearly believe that the future need not be like the past, and it looks like that the next 3 to 5 years are going to be a lot more wonderful, a lot more benign for investors. My sense is that traders necessarily may not essentially win in this kind of an uptrend, because you clearly see companies deliver and stock prices keep going up, and therefore the power of compounding gets lost if you are a compulsive trader. So my sense is that if you're worried about a 5-10% correction, it might just make sense to basically book some profits, be on cash, and then of course use that cash to redeploy. But otherwise, I do not think that this is essentially an environment where you necessarily need to have a cash call. I'd probably say that you're better off kind of remaining invested and riding this uptrend over the next several years.
Is it time to have a bigger allocation to perhaps mid caps and small caps? Are we in that kind of a market? Is it time to tweak your sector allocations? I mean, pharma was the big bull of 2020. Is that going to change as we step into a quickly recovering world?
Well, what it looks like is that after several years, we have a paradigm shift. The reality is that the Indian economy is still very, very dependent on two strong pillars, which is essentially the entire auto pack and the real estate pack. These are two very large sectors which have a massive multiplier effect on the economy, which have been, in a way, pretty much seeded or have been witnessing degrowth over the last several years. Over the last few months, we're seeing, in a way, a resurgence of both these two sectors. And therefore, there are several smaller businesses, mid-sized businesses, which essentially are suppliers of components, products, services to both these sectors. So be it auto components, industrial consumers, building material companies, these are all typically mid and small size companies. And therefore, I think that this as an entire pack is likely to strongly outperform even within the mid and small cap space. So clearly believe that both these pockets are in a strong kind of a demand environment or a relatively better demand environment. And I think a lot of the mid and the small size companies will disproportionately benefit because of a stronger demand environment in both the auto and the real estate pack.
Well, quite a few people are talking about inflation and music to the ears of manufacturers. If there is a pickup in inflation, and already we are seeing commodity inflation, how does one play that theme?
So you could play it very differently in the sense that you probably will have to look at essentially the competitive positioning and the pricing power of a producer. So let's assume hypothetically that copper prices are on a massive upswing. And traditionally, or even in the past, a lot of companies which have copper as their raw material actually have benefited or have had benign margin environment, i.e. that when copper prices go up, they tend to basically hike the prices of their products. For example, say a wire and a cable manufacturer, they tend to basically pass on that increased copper prices and probably even end up with slightly better margin on their products. So I clearly think that is a very, very strong or an apt illustration as to how rising commodity prices are probably benefiting some of the producers. So that's probably one way to basically play this entire opportunity.
Nilesh, I just want to go back to that point, and that sounded very optimistic, what you just said. If auto and real estate are the sectors to focus on, then that's telling us something about the turn in the economy. If that kind of a demand pool starts coming in, then you have to start looking at other allied sectors as well, right? So are we looking at a differentiated portfolio then for the next couple of years?
No, I don't think one necessarily needs to have a very differentiated portfolio. The reality is that we are going to see a very, very broad-based kind of a economic recovery as well as an up move. Of course, within that, businesses which are connected to auto and real estate could honestly be the relatively stronger pockets of that economic recovery. But beyond that, I think there are several other businesses which will also benefit, be it financials, be it consumer appliances, consumer staples, selectively pharma, technology services, some of the new age digital oriented businesses. I think it's going to be a very, very broad and a very different, necessarily a different or a varied set of sectors which are going to participate in that. So I clearly believe that maybe if conventionally one has been more concentrated or have been running a more focused portfolio, going forward, maybe you probably need to kind of deal with this market with a much more open mind and navigate through this market with a much more broad-based portfolio than what one conventionally has been.
Those are then two opposite views, almost, at least opposing views. Samir Arora saying these uncomfortable valuations, and Nilesh saying that actually he's a believer in economic growth having taken off, and therefore his advice is to shift to a broader set of stocks, economy-facing stocks, probably, definitely mid-cap stocks. Well, that's two views. Let's get you more. We're going to take a break, and up next we're going to speak with Shankar Sharma of First Global for his view on markets and on stock picking. Masters, as the index goes on to touch new highs ever since the past 1 month, from the 9th of November to be precise, there have been varying views on whether you should dip your toes in when the markets are so high or whether you should be cautious. We just presented you views from Samir Arora, who was a little cautious of the wildness of the rally, as he called it, and Nilesh Shah, who betted that the economic recovery could get more broad-based, so we should probably look at a broader set of stocks. Here comes the next market master, Shankar Sharma of First Global. Shankar Sharma believes that while this has been one of the smoothest rallies seen in recent times, he could say even unexpected, we must prepare for a sharp pullback. So there again, a note of caution. We began by asking him if we are seeing the current rally as similar to 2004, and we got a sharp no. Listen in.
So remember one thing, that 2004 was different, that it was coming out of a very severe bear market of 2000 actually, the whole tech bust, which wound its way. And then from 2004, a massive emerging market bull market started, in which India was a prime participant. And that was, of course, driven in some senses similarly by a weakening dollar, which drove out money from the dollar assets into non-dollar, into emerging, into commodities. So you saw gold rally, you saw a huge oil rally. In some senses, it is similar that the dollar, which has been the currency, the go-to currency over the last several years, has started weakening and weakened dramatically. You suddenly found new class called Bitcoin, which didn't exist back then, which suddenly is almost a must-have in your portfolio. We own it in our global funds, by the way. So in some senses, it is a move away from the US dollar into emerging, into commodities. So you could well be, and still, let's just watch how things pan out. But, and as I always say, that investing is not a game of complete certainty. You will never have that, at all points in time. I just think, probabilistically speaking, there is a pretty good chance that you are seeing life come back into emerging markets after a 10-year lifelessness, in which basically nearly all emerging markets have done nothing. India has done nothing much, and most of them have been just meandering around, the same or similar levels of the last, from 2010, 11, 12. It could well be, start of a pretty decent bull market in emerging markets. So let's keep our fingers crossed. It does appear in some senses a 2004 kind of thing. But again, as I'm always of the view, let's not jump the gun. We are playing this. We are not. We are participating. Let's just hope it just continues. And if it does, then it's really going to be a pretty good period for emerging markets, for Indian markets, for all commodity-related markets.
Okay. I have a question, and I've been asking sort of every guest since the morning about this. Do you get this nagging feeling that there could be a big sell-off over the next couple of months? Of course, that sell-off may eventually get bought because this is a fundamentally strong market, etc. But do you fear that a big sell-off is coming? And if yes, how does one approach it?
So we always fear a sell-off. I mean, we are not of the fund management camp, which believes in a permanently sunny and rosy outlook towards markets. Okay, so because see, central to our belief, fund management belief, is that if you avoid the big losses, you will come out massively ahead of the rest of the pack and massively ahead of the market as well. So avoidance of big losses is central to our fund management philosophy. In that mindset, we always fear a big sell-off, and in particular at a juncture like this, where markets have had a very, very smooth, I mean, I think this has been the smoothest rally I have seen in a long, long time. I mean, just like virtually no correction. I don't think any correction has lasted for more than 5% since April, globally or in India. I mean, it's hard to believe that you can go up 60, 70% without correcting, 10 or 15%. If it happens, we are playing this. So like I said, we are not sitting it out, we are playing it. But we are playing it with obviously a perspective that be prepared for a sharp, pullback, because that we least expected. Right now, we are all pumped up. We are all, fattened by the easy profits of the last 7, 8, 9 months' time. Those are the times when these kind of situations do arise. So we are. It's not that we expect it, but if it were to happen, we are prepared for it. We are absolutely and completely portfolio-wise, thinking-wise, mindset-wise prepared for it.
So now, Shankar, what's the approach that you're taking, and what would you advise if you were to start, periodically taking profits from the portfolio? A, are you even doing that? And B, where would you take the money off the table? For instance, auto has had a rally. We've seen some turnaround even in property stocks. There's a lot of debate on whether there's a turnaround in property. Are you a believer in that, or would you keep taking money off on some of these trades?
So playing the high beta end of the market, like your banks, NBFCs, properties, even airlines, is not for the faint-hearted. Okay, so and that's been what's been driving the markets in November, actually also from October. So if you were, and I always say that in investing, what gives you maximum pleasure will one day give you maximum pain. So the good, so-called good stocks from March, April, globally and in India, basically did nothing for the last 1.5 months' time. And basically October, November belonged to the downtrodden. And most of us, were not positioned there. Okay, I don't think anybody in the right senses should have or would have had, an overweight on banks and financials and autos and property and airlines in the last 7, 8 months' time, because then you would have really lagged the markets. But if you had that, you were looking like a star in October and November. It's not for the faint-hearted. You can play them opportunistically if you're so deft and so nimble.
There are some of these fashionable spaces that have started to move very well. So this whole unlock trade, whether it's aviation, some of these stocks like SpiceJet have doubled from the lows. Hotel companies like Indian Hotels, other travel companies like IRCTC, just for the very near to slightly perhaps medium term, do you think that these are good bets?
So, I mean, coming from where they are, they've been absolute laggards and dogs this entire year. So they have a lot of headroom left to rally, provided, with one big caveat. Remember that we still do not know anything much about these vaccines. We don't know much. And as far as I can figure out, there are still significant risks attached to the vaccines. And God forbid, if you were to find that people got vaccinated and a few of them contracted it, a few of them actually got it, got a brain fever or God knows what, that can really put a spanner into the works for these kinds of unlocked trade, plays.
Okay. So that's another word of advice. You can play the value stocks, the finance stocks, PSU banks. So many of them rallied from November onwards. the value play, even some of the emerging markets, but you have to be very nimble enough to get out. Will everyone have the ability to enter at the right time and exit at the right time? This high beta play is for a person who can take a lot of pleasure but also take a lot of pain. That's the word of advice coming in from Shankar Sharma. So those are 3 important market masters we are presenting to you in this special edition of Market Masters. Thanks much for watching. Stay on, there's a lot lined up.